Well, it's good to actually welcome in 2021 with a video edition of Shots Fired. It's incredible to see you guys looking good. I have to say, Kairos, I'm confused and I'm baffled and I'm bemused. How are you managing to get waves in a pandemic? Are your borders open? How can
First
you
of
put
all,
waves in your head?
when you have connections, you can call a bar rep and say, listen, open up the shop, I'm coming. And they'll open it up just for you and shave your head. When you know
Wow.
people, things get done.
So
Simple.
Chisanga doesn't know people, huh? Because I'm
No.
looking at him and it's, you know, I got my fade, mic clean, Chisanga over
the
here
fade
looking.
just.
I had to
The
do
fade
it
went
myself
off.
though. That's just the thing. I had to do. Look, this is my shape up. I did this myself.
That's not bad. That's good.
But you, like I say, you look like you went into the salon, and that's what's perplexing me right now. But you know what? We're going to come back to this. We're going to circle back to this because I think you really need an award for that. Speaking of awards, this being 2021, I thought it'd be really good, or we thought it'd be really good to look back on 2020 and present our alternative awards. There are loads of awards going around. Speaking of awards, before I forget, thank you so much to Combat Sports with Rhino for nominating us.
Yes.
Worthy in the Twitter sphere. And we will be dropping by to pick up that award if we can pick our way through DC, if there's a country left by the time we actually finish this podcast. But speaking of awards, it's only right that the Shots Fired crew bless with our own awards, the Backshots. The Backshots, I would say, are the most prestigious of all awards. Now you cough, you splutter, but the Backshot, it's a memorable award. It's a worthy award. And our categories are ever so slightly different. I'm going to kick things off with the moment that made you say, whoa. For me, the nominees, and there are 4 nominees, and that was the moment that made me say, whoa, was Bellator actually rocking up on the BBC iPlayer. Now, for me, just to put this into context, in the UK, I would say the BBC for the longest while have been staunch advocates against mixed martial arts. It's only in recent years that they've only started to warm to this. It's only in recent years that they've started to give copy to it on their website. But to actually see Bellator on the BBC iPlayer for me was a really big deal. The second nominee is the Joaquin Buckley KO. Not only was it a spectacular KO, now for me, being an ex-Taekwondo practitioner, to see that actually pulled off in the cage, I have to say, it blew me away. But it wasn't actually just the technique. It wasn't actually the display of what we saw in terms of violence. It was the whole story around this. Here was a man who actually put out his wares, who actually put out his skill, who put out his expertise, gave the UFC a highlight KO, but still went back to his day job on a Monday morning. Now that in itself is worthy of note. But moving swiftly on, what made me say whoa as well was Dana White actually rocking up at the end of last year and presenting his alternate view of a roundup of last year. And to his credit, I would say a fraction of what he said was noteworthy, commendable. And I'm thinking, and I'm speaking specifically of the fact that in the face of all adversaries, in the face of all detractors, in the face of all the naysayers, he got the job done. He delivered what we spoke about, what we commented on, what we actually brought to our podcast on a weekly basis, because of the fact that he actually, well, stuck it to the man, and the man being the media in his eyes, because that's what made me say, whoa. He changed the narrative. He gaslighted the entire viewership of that video into thinking that these detractors, these naysayers had only negative things to say, had only bad words to say. And pulling that off and having the support, the retweets, the actual traction, which made me think he definitely gaslit a shed load of people. I saw at last count, it was 2 million views on that video alone. That made me say, whoa. But the final nominee in this category, and that was the moment that made me say, whoa, was the death of Abdul Manap. Now, for me, such an important figure, an integral figure, the father of one of the most dominant champions and mixed martial arts we've seen in the octagon. Him passing away was a very somber moment in what actually underpinned 2020, COVID-19. Now that made me say, whoa, on a couple of levels. One, the actual run up to his death, it did look as though, me being the eternal optimist, it did look as though he was going to pull through. So it did actually make me say, whoa, when he actually passed. But secondly, like the back and forth, Conor McGregor getting involved in the narrative, it made me, again, pause for thought and made me think that, you know, life is so fragile. The bickering, the so-called banter sometimes might be a little bit out of place when you're talking about a man who was on the brink of death and then finally actually passed over. But those, I have to say, are some pretty compelling nominees. I hope you'll agree. But for me, I was about to announce my winner, but I'm going to pause and ask you, in the moment that made you say, whoa, category, did I miss anything? Am I actually skirting over some things that actually passing your mind at the moment and making you think, how the fuck did he miss this one?
Yeah, like when Paulo Costa was assaulted in the cage by Izzy Adesanya. That was a huge moment for me. I think that's worth a whoa, Mike. You know what I'm saying? I did not expect him to get booty clapped as he was face down on the ground trying to get his wits together. But I thought that was a huge moment for a bully. But that's just me. That's just me, though.
No, I pretty much agree with you, Mike, and with every whoa moment that you had there, especially Bellator's one. That was, for me, that was a really, really big one. And well, I'll go into that after you reveal the winner of the category.
Kairos.
For me, it was how Poirier versus McGregor 2 came about. Like, they were like, hey, let's fight each other, blah, 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 and have a fight and rematch. And Dana was like, nah, that's not really the fight I'm trying to do. And so Dustin and Conor were like, all right, fine. We'll do it for charity for free under our own name. And Dana was like, okay, hold on, guys. All right, we'll put the fight together. We'll put it together next year, and we'll try and get it done. And I think what the problem was that Conor wanted it in 2020. And Dana was just like, I'm not trying to do it in 2020. But we've seen just time and time again where every single time we think Dana's tightening up the strings on someone or tightening up the chains, Conor still says, nah, fuck that. I'm off these chains. I'm Django. I am breaking all. I control the UFC. And like, it's just like, I think some things will never change. And that is one of them.
Okay, without further ado then, it's a drum roll. The winner is Joaquin Buckley. And the reason why, because as I mentioned, there were some serious and worthy contenders, but the reason why is the whole narrative. And the fact is, I have played that video over and over ad nauseum on my player and over in my mind. It is one of those indelible moments of 2020, which I think personifies 2020, and that is against all odds, against all detractors. I mean, remember the story coming into this, against basically, this for me was a pivotal and a seminal moment. Like I say, personally, because of the Taekwondo element, but just from an eye candy moment, this was outstanding. Made me say, whoa.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Okay.
I agree with you, but I do have a slight criticism of the knockout. I mean, I love Impa Kasangane. He's from the Congo, which is right next door to where my parents are from, Zambia. So we probably share some of the same blood some way or somehow or whatever. But after he caught that leg kick, man, he held on to that for too long. He was the architect of his own downfall in that sense. Like, I think I'm pretty much the only person to have come out and said this. I'm not trying to detract away from the knockout itself, but I mean, Impa just held on far too long and he paid the price. If it was in more, yeah, perhaps I'm being a bit pernickety and I wanted an instant spin off the back foot and then whatever. But yeah, that's my that's my sole criticism with the knockout. Although I still believe it is the knockout of 2020. I mean,
yeah,
there's nothing else. There's nothing else.
I just want to pause and jump in there. That's part of the technique. You pause, you look, you strike. That's why there was that pause there.
The
There's
same
no
points.
That's-
wild strikes in
Shit.
Taekwondo. This is about
I
precision.
know.
So that is a part of the technique to look.
Yes, to look. You have
Wow.
to look where you're striking. My instructor, Nick Simmons, who's part of the GB team, the Olympic GB team, drill that into us. You look, you strike. How can you strike at what you're not looking at?
That's true.
You could
Yeah.
do Ben Askren spinning back fist against Damian Maya, was it? Or
Hail Mary, yeah.
Yeah, Hail Mary. You could do that, but
look where he is now.
He was landing strikes though. Don't disrespect. Ben was landing
Exactly. I
strikes
was
in that
just
fight.
about
But as we bring up Ben, I think that's also a whoa moment too for someone that did not watch him in the other organizations. For him to come to the UFC and for me to see that type of career is huge to me. That was a big whoa, a big kaput. That Ben Askren came with all this hype. And he nearly was murdered in his debut against Robbie Lawler, and it was controversial. And then on top of it, look how he went out. So I think that's like noteworthy too. That's a big 2020 moment. This huge star comes over and flop.
That's true. I got shit for writing a headline calling Mr. Askren a UFC flop. And I mean, when people just look back at his record, what are the facts going to say? Like, obviously, everybody will remember that the win over Robbie Lawler was a contentious one, but people will look to the 5-second knockout loss to Masvidal, which is really a 2-second knockout loss to Masvidal, and
Correct.
the loss to Damian Maya. But that's not me by any means making light of the man's career. The man was a decorated Miss Martial Arts, champion in Bellator, champion in one. Do they call it championship now? It's one championship now. So I mean, he just came over too late. I think that's what it is.
I agree.
And I think, I don't want to say that he didn't work on his striking enough or what have you, but I think the disparity between his grappling and his striking was just far too much. It was like the fighters of the early 2000s, like the disparity between the striking and grappling. But respect to him for coming over and what have you, but just don't embarrass us against Jake Paul this year, man. That's all I'm saying.
Is that really happening, y'all, or was that just
I think it
tough
is.
talk?
I think it is.
Wow.
I think it's gonna. Yeah, look at Kairos's face. Yeah, I think Jake Paul's gonna light him up.
Yeah,
Which is so sad because Jake
And
Paul
that's gonna
just
be the
started
war
boxing.
moment. This time next year, that will be that moment.
Yeah.
I'm happy to see it. It needs to happen.
yeah, definitely.
needs
I don't
happen.
mind as long now. Like when I heard it was Ben Askren, I was like, oh, I don't mind. Maybe I'll watch. Like I don't. He's out the UFC. His career was somewhat of a flop, and in the UFC, I do have respect for what he did outside the UFC. But I think if anyone involved in MMA fights Jake Shields, I think not Jake Shields. What's his name? Jake Paul.
Paul.
Paul Jake. I think Ben Askren is perfect.
The disrespect.
My bad.
Because also, it's not gonna be Dylan Dennis, right? Let's not beat around the bush here. Dylan, great, phenomenal. He's a Marcelo Garcia black belt, I'm pretty sure, but I'm pretty sure he got kicked out of the school as well from Marcelo Garcia.
He did.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
What did he do?
I'm not too sure. It hasn't come to light what transpired, but he was
He was put out.
he was ushered out of the door. But I do believe that Jake Paul would light him up, stand up wise. But we're only going off like the 2 fights he's had in Bellator. But I mean, if it's purely a boxing match, anyway, let's stop talking about these TikTok, YouTube stars and what have you, man. That's another time.
On with my second category then. Cheeky cunt of the year. Now, there are certain permutations to this. Cheeky cunt of the year could be comment. Cheeky cunt of the year could be action. Cheeky cunt of the year could be, basically, I'm going to go through my nominations. Leon Edwards being removed from the rankings. Now, that was a cheeky cunt move. Obviously not by Leon Edwards, but by the UFC. I don't care what anybody says. I'm not convinced that this wasn't an arm twisting move. This wasn't a part of negotiation with Leon Edwards. Because if you notice, as soon as that happened, things started to quickly move in terms of the narrative for Leon Edwards. So that was a bit of a cheeky cunt move by the UFC, if you ask me. Next up, Khamzat Chimaev smashing John Phillips by sub. Reese McKee by TKO. And Gerald Meerschaert by KO. Now, for me, that was a cheeky cunt move. I tell you why. He came in, he said, okay, I'm going to smash this guy, did that. Went on to the next guy, did that. Went on to the third guy, did that. Just like a cheeky cunt. Now, for me, it was just the arrogance of the man. He fought 3 times in 1 year and was about to fight a 4th cheeky cunt of the year. Now, the next one is Corey Anderson leaving the UFC for Bellator. I just thought that was a cheeky cunt move because if I remember rightly, he wasn't long into reeing up with the UFC, if I remember rightly. And even if he wasn't, to kind of like just throw his chips down and say, look, I'm not getting what I want. I'm going to go where the money's at. Cheeky cunt move. Finally, Conor McGregor coming back and actually mid-clash with Cowboy, breaking his nose with his shoulder. Then after the fight has finished, walking over to Cowboy and saying, yeah, you know that nose of yours, which is broken, which is twisted on the other side of your face. Well, it was my shoulder that did that. Respect the power of the shoulder. I just thought that was a cheeky cunt move. But my winner, actually, I'm going to pause. My winner. Have I missed anyone in terms of that category? Have I missed anyone? Cheeky cunt of the year.
Oh, cheeky. I don't know, man. Like those are probably the standout moments for me. In particular, Conor's like the shoulders to Cowboy, and when he's down, it's still his nose is like pissing with blood and whatever, and he's just like he like kind of like lifts up his head. He's like, yeah. By the way, yeah, yeah. I think that's a moment because obviously it was so long ago that people forgot about.
That's absurd. I mean, why would you do that? The man doesn't even have his wits about him. But did you notice sometimes they lose their minds after the fight? Like, remember, Mike, when we talked about Jimmy Crute, he just decided to like hug his opponent right after he was like unconscious on the floor. Like, yeah. Sometimes I don't understand what are they thinking? Like right after they finish someone off. Like I've seen hugs, I've seen kisses on the cheek. I mean, Luke Rockhold, remember, Yoel kissed him on the mouth. Like a lot of times when these fights are over, both of them are just a little off, you know.
I love you.
Yeah, it's like he's like not there. He's unconscious. Easy, yo. Like, give him a minute.
Kairos, have I missed anybody?
I gotta go with Darren Till. This man has terrorized Mike Perry for an entire calendar year. He went on a tirade with memes, trying to follow his girls on Instagram, trying to DM them. He was like saying, listen, man, let me corner you for the next fight. And he was adamant about it every single time this guy was trying to get fights. And he was like, I need a corner. And Darren Till was right there, like, I'll do it. Like, this man was so persistent throughout the entire year. I honestly thought that they were best. You would think that they were friends and he was just joking around, but no.
Nope.
I might not understand this category, but I feel like he fits into this category, but that's just me.
Yeah, that should be in addition. Actually, I completely forgot about Darren Till. Yeah, Darren Till during lockdown, his social media game just went up through the roof, just the trolling it. But yeah, and well, now Mike Perry. Well, did he see a reflection of Darren Till in that glass door that he? I don't know, like. He saw Lattori, and then he just saw like a ghost image of Darren Till right behind.
Right, and broke the door.
My favorite, I think it was KGB who put it up on Twitter, was where they had, she had 2 panels, and one panel was just like a blank piece of like paneling in terms of like glazing. And then the next panel was UFC Shane behind like a pane of glass. And this is what Mike Perry sees.
Because she's living in his head rent free ever since that they had words online. You know what I'm saying? What did she say, Mike, that you just couldn't get like something about the coochie or something? Or what did she say?
Something about
she like insulted. Yeah.
Oh,
she insulted Lattori and them.
Man. Yeah. That killed me for days.
Yeah.
For days.
Well, now he knows about UFC Shayna. He knows her as well as we do, so he won't do that again.
Well,
I
guarantee winner of the Cheeky Cunt of the Year, and unfortunately, I know that he can't drink this, and that's a massive clue. It's Khamzat Chimaev. Now, for me, why he won this category is because what he did, come on, let's face it, is unprecedented. Coming in as an unknown, bouncing out of Brave into the UFC, making the waves that he did. I don't think anybody could liken his performance in terms of the way that he kind of like blazed this trail, this narrative, and has got to a level where he is fighting somebody who he shouldn't really actually be matched up against in Leon Edwards in such a short space of time. Remember, he did all of this in 1 year and was about to close out the year. Well, okay, begin this year.
December 19th. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Mike,
okay, first off, he was supposed to have ended off the year with Leon Edwards, but we are now in a situation where he's going to actually realize that in 2021. So what I'm going to say is that for me, that gives him the cheeky cunt status because he came in, he did what he said he was going to do, and I feel he's going to keep on doing it. And that leads me to my bold prediction for 2021 about this man. I'm going to put it and I'm going to commit it to video. I'm going to make sure that this is framed in some way, shape, or form. I see this man, Khamzat Chimaev. Look at G's face. G's like, what's coming next? You don't want to go there. That's what her face is saying. I see this man lifting a UFC belt this year.
Oh no! Oh no! I'm sorry. No. Hold up. Let me toss this over here. I thought you were about to say Leon Edwards was about to do something. He got himself. No, Khamzat Chimaev doesn't stand a chance. Okay, this man's gonna get embarrassed by Leon. Then they're gonna toss him to somebody else. He might get a win here and there, but he will never put together a 3-fight winning streak ever again. I'm so sick and tired of the hype behind this guy because he beat guys. You have 2 wins combined between the 3 of them. I don't even think they got wins in between all 2. No, Mike, you were no.
yes, Kairos. I gave you the keep preach on.
Twitter? No, Mike, I'm so sick and tired of this. We got to end this right now.
But can we go back just a little bit? Can we just go back a little bit? Your category, actually, you're mad at Dana White. You're not mad at what's his name? Khamzat Chimaev, chop. You're not mad at Chop. You mad at Dana because if you were given that opportunity, you would roll with it too. If Dana walked in this house right now and said, "Get up, you're fighting Ronda Rousey in her comeback fight tomorrow," I'd be like, "Mike is on. Retweet all the shit I'm about to put out there. I'm fighting Ronda Rousey." Like, if you give me an opportunity, I'm gonna take it. So you can't be too mad at him because the company is backing him, because you'd roll with it too. You know, I think it's Dana that is the evil person behind his rise.
Without further ado, then, I guess it's time for Chisanga's nominees and his category.
What's good, people? I know, you all missed me on the end of last year's show. Apologize, I couldn't make it. I was working. All right, let me cut to the chase. My two categories for 2020 are the top shotter, and not shotter as in somebody who sells drugs. That's the term in the UK or wherever, but the person who fired and delivered the best shots. My 3 nominations, I'm not going to go 4 like Michael: Israel Adesanya, Mr. Khamzat Chimaev, and the big boss, Mr. Dana White. So for this one, I put Adesanya because quarantine Adesanya, some of the shots that he was firing to Mr. John Jones, although a couple were below the belt, many of them were masterful. And I can't remember which one in particular, but it prompted John to admit the USADA story that had been going around for a few years, that he hid under the octagon at Jackson Wink for like 8 hours and even had to go to the bathroom underneath there. So that just shows you the level of trolling.
Wait, skirt. He peed under there?
I didn't know that either.
Well, I think that's what other people said. John obviously didn't confirm it, but I mean, if you do the math, like, unless he actually physically went to sleep under that cage and laid there the whole time, he's gonna have to go into the bathroom at some point.
Ew.
And not to mention, circle back to Izzy. He was on the receiving end of some mad trolling from Paulo Costa, but again, he was strategic and methodical with his responses, and I'd say he was a bit tactful with them. So we'll move on from Izzy now, and we'll go to Mr. Khamzat Chimaev. As you said, Mike, I don't need to go into great detail about this. This man came in, he called his shots. Said he was gonna smash everybody, said he was gonna break into the top 15 by the end of the year. He did that. Obviously, the Leon fight didn't happen, but that's neither here nor there. And you also touched on it earlier, Mr. Big Boss Dana White following in his good friend's suit, and you'd expect good friends to follow in each other's suit, and Mr. Donald Trump with the media hit piece. While I understand why he came out and he acted the way that he did with the video, there were some very, very bad edits to make people look as if they were saying things that weren't actually true. But nonetheless, he fired the shots. It was a major talking point and still is a major talking point, even going into the new year. So off the top of your heads, guys, have I missed anyone out on the top shotter nomination?
You have.
Who?
There was one consistent dissenting voice throughout 2020, and against all odds, he proceeded to bring the UFC to book and to bear. Trent Reinsmith. I got to big up this guy because against all odds, this was the top shotter. It fits so neatly into your category. He was firing shots left, right, and center, and those were hollow points because they were acidic in the way that they were delivered. He basically, without fear or favor, kept on going regardless of what the haters were saying. So yeah, that's the one that's missing.
Fair enough. I should have included him. You can be the honorable fourth mention, Mr. Reinsmith. Kairos, did I miss anyone? Any glaring omissions from that?
I think Trent's a nice one for this list. Yeah, I don't want to add to that.
All right. G, anyone?
I mean, you could add me. I mean, come on. How many accounts have I gone through this year? Come on. Nobody thought about this fucking mouth. Nobody thought about the fact that I'm on like my third account in 2020. Like, yo, I've been through how many accounts in 1 year? I'm back. How many people? I was the most hated person. Right now, Big Tex, Alicia's taking over right now. But I was at one point, I was the hated person online, man. So you got to throw me in there, maybe just. But I'm bullshitting.
We'll make room for you. We'll make room for. We'll put you in. So that includes 5.
I'm bullshitting. I'm just really joking with y'all. I do not deserve that at all. I'm on the scale, but I'm a baby. But I do think Dana White, when he put out that video shitting on the media, that was huge. And you did mention that. You didn't miss that?
Yeah, I did.
That was you saying that's Dana. Okay, perfect. I got it. I'm a little slow. So I think you nailed it with Dana. I would pick him out of all the categories. And I don't think you forgot. I mean, you might be able to throw in like Kobe for his controversial comments, but nah, I think Dana and Izzy threw the hardest shots this year.
So I was initially going to put Israel Adesanya at the top, but I've actually changed my mind. I am going with Dana because these shots. I didn't anticipate such a, like it was a pump action shotgun basically that he dropped essentially, because there are little digs at the media here and there throughout the build up to throughout the build up to UFC 249 and afterwards, when there were still reservations about things going on in the pandemic. But to have the I don't want to say audacity, because obviously this is a man who has big cojones, but to commission a video where they put media members' faces along next to headlines, not just the headlines and their names, but they put faces of like Ariel Helwani, and there were, who was the other guy? Brian Campbell, and there was a couple other people who they put on there, whose faces or whatever.
Did he throw in Trent?
No, he didn't.
No, he didn't.
I watched it 2 times. He didn't throw in Trent.
I was surprised. That was a glaring omission. So for Dana to clap back at the criticism, a lot of it which was justified. I mean, there's numerous things we could delve into for why the UFC do deserve criticism. Fighter pay being probably top of the list for me.
Yeah.
But for the manner in which he did it, and the fact there was no indication that it was coming, that's why he's top shotter for me. Does anyone disagree?
Can't disagree with that. Can't hate on that.
I do think he looks a little nuts doing it though. Like yes, that was the biggest shot thrown this year. But I mean, who makes a video of themselves kind of, doing that? I don't know. I feel like confidence and when you accomplish things in life, you do it quietly and you get even more attention when you're just like, what do you mean? So I think like when he did that, it kind of took away a little bit from like his purpose. It made him look, like boastful, or like, you don't see too many CEOs of people doing that,
Yeah.
So big
But at the
shot,
same-
but I don't know.
yeah. But at the same time, I like that he delves in the muck with us. Do you know what I mean? I like it shows
Yeah.
more of a human side, and I think that's what also endears him to people.
Yeah,
But
because that is
but
like
as you
petty.
say,
Yeah.
yeah. But as you say, like, I wonder how the execs at ESPN and Disney, how they reacted to that, and I wonder whether they're going to
Exactly.
try rein him in or what have you. But I don't foresee that happening.
I doubt it. Yeah, that's part of his appeal, like you said.
Of course. Of course. All right, moving on. So my second category is well, it's related to the top shotter, but it's a top flopper, basically. The person who talked a big game, fired big shots, but ultimately did not deliver. And I'm just going to run through my list of nominees. Sorry, I've got 3. Top of that list, I haven't even forgotten their name. It's completely. I'll go in reverse. Tyron Woodley for all the pre-fight amble in the build-up to Colby Covington. I mean, this was a beef that dated back years and what have you, and then obviously it got political with the whole Black Lives Matter thing. And Tyron Woodley, I think he wore a hat saying "Make racists catch the fade again" and what have you. Ultimately, he put a lot of pressure on his shoulders, and he didn't deliver. And I'm not begrudging him for losing to the better man, but I think because of that, it was kind of a flop. I think he was going for a big viral moment where if he had stopped Colby emphatically, then he would have been able to put on a BLM hat or something. But obviously that didn't come to fruition. And I've genuinely forgotten my other 2 right now. I don't know what is happening. I am flopping right now. Literally under the pressure of the camera, I am flopping. Also on the list is Mr. Paulo Costa. I mean, this man, talk about deer in the headlights after talking a big game against Israel Adesanya for the best part of, I'm trying to think, for the best part of 13 months, because he fought Yoel Romero in August 2019. And ever since then, the narrative was Israel Adesanya, I will race you.
It's too skinny.
He's too skinny. He talked all this mad trash, but when it came to it, he was said deer in the headlights. And you know what happens to deer when they're crossing the road at night and they ain't looking right, they get knocked over. That's what happens.
They are roadkill. They are on the street. Done.
Yep, they are roadkill. And this one, I think, is going to anger a Mr. Kairos Bodley. But I'm going to put Mr. Dominic Cruz in there because also ahead of his return, comeback fight against Henry Cejudo, this man talked a big game. This man talked as if he was the Dominic Cruz of, let's say, the Dominic Cruz just after the WEC, who was at the peak of his powers, who hadn't been through 2 knee surgeries. And yeah, he talked a big game that he was going to dethrone Henry, and he, for lack of a better term, he kind of honey-dicked us all. He made me believe as well. But ultimately, look, I can see Kairos just
right. He's like twitching and shit.
He's twitching and shit. He's like preparing himself. But ultimately, as much as I love Mr. Cruz, as much as I think he's pioneer of the bantamweight division, he came up short. Does anybody have any disagreements or any additions that I should have to that list?
That's pretty comprehensive from where I'm sat.
Yeah. No. We're missing Ben Askren. He talked shit for years. And then he came over here. And did he retire? Am I blending 2019 with 2020?
I believe that was 2019. I think it was 2019 he fought Maya.
Oh, I can't get over it.
I can't even remember, Like, anyway, it's all a blur. Mr. Bodley,
it is. Never mind. Scratch that. Yeah.
Come on, Kairos, hit me with it.
Did Macy Barber fight Roxanne in 2020?
Oh, yes, she did. I was there as well. How could I forget that?
Macy Barber was talking so much trash about it. And then she ends up getting dominated for I think all 3 rounds. I think only 1 round was even close. And then after that, she had the audacity to take the microphone from Roxanne and say, Roxanne
steal
winning
her shine.
only made, me losing only made Roxanne shine even brighter. It's like, bro, shut up. Who
Right.
do you know has ever lost a fight that was not a main or a co-main event? And they take the microphone, Kanye West style, and start giving us a quick speech on how they're going to come back strong. We don't care. We don't care, Mason.
And how arrogant of her to think that you gave her shine when this woman has a fan base. She's been around the world. She
Exactly.
teaches in Japan. How ignorant and rude was it to be like, I made this woman famous when she has a whole backstory and fans on, like loyal fans, unlike Macy fans that left her once she got beat up, So disrespectful. Good one, Kairos.
And we're talking about a pioneer of women's MMA as well. That just adds to the disrespect.
I couldn't believe it. It wasn't just that she took the mic and had a Kanye moment. It's what she said to the pioneer, as you said. I was like, holy shit, I can't believe this is happening. Good one, Kairos. Yes.
Don't talk about Dominic Cruz ever again.
I'm low-key a fan too, yeah.
Hey, I love the man, but I've got to call it down the middle and say as it is. All right, I'm gonna get to the winner, or should I say, it's not really an accolade.
They're a loser.
The biggest loser.
The loser of this. And it's got to go down to Paulo Costa. It's got to go to Paulo Costa for me. As I said, this man took the big game from the moment he beat Yoel Romero, and he had a bruck up lip. Do you remember how big his lip was after that Yoel Romero fight? Yoel pieced him up. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. He talked so much trash about Adesanya, and as I said when introducing this part of the award show, he constantly said he was going to erase him. He was too skinny. He wouldn't be able to take any of his power shots, but no power shots were thrown. That for me is the ultimate flopper of 2020. I love Paulo Costa. I love watching him fight. I love the ferociousness and aggression he brings, and I think with a few tweaks to the game plan, that he could be a champion maybe one day, but
he needs work.
Your man flopped, and that's just how it is.
Yeah, agreed.
You know what that reminds me of? That reminds me of that stereotypical guy who's always sexting with a girl, and then when it finally comes time for them to hang out, he's just it's over in a bit. That was what Paulo Costa did. He got us like, this is gonna be crazy. This is gonna be a battle. He gets out there, gets leg kicked to death for a whole round. He gets dropped and knocked out in rounds. So it's just like, bro, you should be embarrassed of yourself.
And then he tried to talk shit too, to like cover it up that he had no game plan for him. How embarrassing was that? Yeah. Like, oh, your mouth isn't gonna win you the fight, honey. Like, figure out what's going on wrong here. You know?
I for the life of me, I can't remember the last time we saw somebody who was literally, I don't want to say scared, because obviously he's a professional fighter, but was just so tentative to throw and was so worried. It literally, I keep going back to this analogy. It was a deer in headlights with Adesanya. Can anyone remember any fighter or in any UFC title fight, the challenger being that way?
The challenger?
Yeah.
No, because usually the challenger is good enough to contend with the champion. That's, you know what I'm saying? So we don't really see too much like that. And I think Paulo he wasn't prepared. He fell short. I don't think he knows how great Izzy was. And it's amazing to me that he failed so short, because it's like he has a whole team behind him. How did y'all prepare for him? Yeah. Basically what the fuck happened? You know what I'm saying? That's just me.
Okay.
Oh, no.
Who's next?
Oh, that would be me. Unfortunately, guys, my awards are not as creative. They're just very regular schmegular. So I'm gonna start with, who is the most improved fighter of the year? I have 3 nominees. I've got Kevin Holland, I've got Charles Oliveira, and I got Carla Esparza, because we have to recognize the fact that she has improved, that she is, I believe, on a 4-fight win streak. And Dana is talking about throwing her in the title. And last year and some years before, we never talked about this with Carla Esparza. So big up to her. I would say that my winner this was so hard, and you guys might not agree with me, but I think it's Charles Oliveira, even though Kevin Holland had that mega year. I just think Charles Oliveira is on the cusp of like a title shot with his improvements, while Kevin Holland is still going to have to beat up a few more people maybe. Do you understand? Like, I think Charles Oliveira is by far the most improved fighter right now in the UFC and the most dangerous. What are your thoughts?
Hard to
Yeah.
disagree with that. I mean, I was going to throw in our
Yeah,
friend
and if I
Conor
forgot
McGregor.
somebody, throw him in.
I was gonna throw in our friend Conor McGregor. I'll tell you why.
I'm leaving, Mike.
It's only because we thought we'd seen the best of Conor McGregor in terms of the come up and in terms of what he delivered. But it's undeniable that what we saw against Cowboy Cerrone was next level Conor McGregor. There were some adjustments and improvements there that I'd not seen before. That whole shoulder move, the way in which his movement was so fluid, so graceful. I'd say, come on, you got to give it to the guy. There were some improvements there. Even the
I
long layoff as
disagree.
well.
I disagree.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, there were, but not to the level of improvements that Charles Oliveira showcased, especially with the striking in the Kevin Lee fight. Oh man, I was blown away. Like I vividly remember coming back and watching that fight because I'd been in Barcelona that weekend and I just got out of Spain before they put in the lockdown, and obviously that was the first UFC card behind closed doors, and he pieced Kevin up, man. Like well and truly pieced Kevin up, and even the striking proficiency he showed against Tony as well. I mean,
yeah, he's dominating.
Yeah,
Don't get me
obviously.
wrong. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying he should have won, but he should have been an also ran.
It's a mention, you think?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, fair enough.
Let me devil's advocate here with that honorable mention by Conor McGregor. First and foremost, I wish I could slap you because every time I ask the question, Conor name come up with this dude. So that's one. But secondly, do you think those improvements that you saw, Mike, weren't because of the caliber of the opponent? It's Cowboy. Do you understand? Like, if you fight somebody that's not as good as you, you're going to shine and look really good. No, he's not, but he's old. Let's stop.
Now, let's not like take anything away from his opponent. For me, it's because he showed me things I'd never seen before, and I've been watching him for a long while. And the fact that he had that long layoff, and to come back and look as though he competed like 3 months ago, it was a thing of beauty. Don't get me wrong. Let me underline.
It was a beautiful performance. Yes.
Yeah. Let me underline this. He's an also ran. He's not a winner.
Yeah. Yeah. He's an honorable mention for you, but I'm going to look, if I had his name written down, I'd cross it right off. Like I don't agree, but I'm just fucking with you, Mike. Did I forget anybody? Everybody cool? I'm gonna move on. What about you, Kairos? We good?
I think Brandon Moreno, this is a guy who got kicked off with Tough in the first round. He came back, he took on Louis Smolka and finished him in round 1. Louis Smolka was ranked at like number 5 at the time. He finished him in round 1. Then he had a few setbacks against, I think, Pantoja and Sergio Pettis, and he competed for a world title, had one of the most exciting title fights of all time. Yeah, exactly. I just like, granted, I don't know if he grew as large as those other people within the calendar year 2020, but he's
definitely worth a mention. Yeah, definitely. I was stuck between Charles and Kevin Holland, to be honest with you, but I think for me, Charles gets it. Yeah, I think it's pretty solid. I think so. Yeah. And go ahead, Chisanga.
I was about to say I agree, and because he's been in the UFC, what I think is it 10 years in August or 10 years? Yeah, it's 10 years this year. I think it was 2011 he made his debut. And
yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, so I mean
it's nuts to see his history here. Like you go on Sherdog and stuff. It's nuts.
Yeah, I know. Like he's fought a lot of good people as well, Charles. Like I know he had some setbacks. I remember he got stopped by Cowboy via TKO.
He had a no contest with Nick Lentz. He's had a loss with Frankie Edgar, Cub Swanson.
I mean, he's fought but he was doing this as he was growing, not only as physically as a human being, but as a martial artist as well. And I think the last 18 months, we've really seen the true evolution of Charles Oliveira.
Yeah, and his UFC debut was August 1st, 2010 against Darren Elkins, in which he won. So he's been in the UFC for quite a while.
11 years ago. Wow, that's crazy, man. And Darren Elkins is still fighting in the UFC about time. That's crazy
another one. Woo, if you look up his history, he'd been around for a minute. Shit. Let's see. What's my second one? I wanted to do like a shout out to the Contender Series pups. You know, me and Mike do a lot of talking about them on our other shows. So for me, I don't really watch the show, but some of them stuck out to me. So this is basically, who was your favorite contender series pup? And we can break the rules here. It can be somebody that can debuted, on the show this year, like they haven't been on the UFC yet, or it can be someone that already fought on the contender series but caught your eye this year in 2020. That's how I did it. So I came up with a couple of folks. I came up with Miguel Baeza. He was the one that smoked Matt Brown real quick in that first round, and it was beautiful. Then we got Casey Kenny, the dude that fought the Prospect and won. We all thought he wasn't going to get past Nathaniel Wood, and he did in that glorious fight. We have to shout out the Wocast and our very own Jamal Hill. He was on this show, he produced it. And also he's having a hell of a year, and he caught my attention. He just murked OSP. And last but not least, the ladies' favorite, Carlos Ulberg, the guy from City Kickboxing that debuted on the Contender Series and stole all of our hearts, but is also hella talented. He's fine, y'all. I had to throw him in there. He looked good. So, and then he's from Izzy's camp. I did a little research on him. I watched some old fights of his. He is the real deal. So look out for him. But my winner, I want to pick Jamal Hill, but I'm going with Carlos Ulberg. I'm going with the baby from City Kickboxing.
Why is that over Jamal Hill? I'm shocked and surprised.
Because
friend of the show.
I know. Jamal, I love you. Don't be mad. Because I feel like Jamal, even though I mentioned him, he's kind of like leaving the Contender Series type of, label. I feel like we're starting to see him more as a UFC dude. I feel like when we think of Miguel Baeza, Casey Kenny, and Carlos Ulberg, they still have that Contender Series history attached to them. But this is just my personal opinion. So I went with Carlos because, one, he's new on the scene. His debut at the Contender Series was awesome, and I think he's going to have so much potential when he comes over. So I gave it to him, but Jamal and him were like neck and neck, no doubt. What about y'all? Who's your favorite Contender Series person?
I'm trying to think.
Well, like I say, I mean, for me, it was Jamal Hill, but you've already mentioned him. I love the fact that, he just went from strength to strength, and he seemed to be consistent with it as well.
Yep.
A lot of people like yourself, G, were kind of like thinking about his takedown defense and his ground game. And I just think that's the myth. I really feel as though this guy is going places, and he's definitely one to watch in 2021.
Yeah. I was neck and neck. I agree with you, Mike. I just feel like he's no longer a pup. So I didn't really throw him in there, but he's worth, like we've been saying on the show, a mention. What about you, Chisanga?
I know it's kind of throwing it back a bit, but could you include Johnny Walker in that? Because obviously he was on Contender Series as well, and he bounced back with a big win over Ryan Spann. So,
and his transition from he's at SBG too. That needs to be mentioned as well.
He's everywhere at the moment, to be honest. Like he's with Firas Zahabi and TriStar for the Kevin Lee, or not the Kevin Lee fight. He fought in that card though. Who did he fight in that card? Nikita Krylov. That's who he fought. He was at TriStar then, and I know he's been at SPG recently. I don't know if that's is going to be his permanent home now or whatever.
It might be. I just saw him playing with Coach's baby at the dinner table, so it seems like
maybe he's right. But I think for me, obviously he's had his setbacks. He lost to Krylov and Corey Anderson, what have you, but to bounce back in the manner that you did against Ryan Spann, it really impressed me, and it shows that I think he does belong in here. And I think the evolution from the raw guy that we saw in the Contender Series is not complete, but it's well and truly underway.
No, that's a good mention, because he is a Contender Series pup. He comes from there, so I think it's a decent mention. Kairos, what about you? Your thoughts?
I got two. I got Cheyenne Buys from Forges MMA, and the other one is Sadiq Yusuf.
Yes.
The man hasn't fought in over a year, Kairos.
I know.
And I'm
no
about to drill him in this next title.
It's no fault of his own though. So.
And why isn't he fighting? Do y'all know? Is there an issue or something? Is he injured?
I don't know. I think I read somewhere a while back that he might have been injured, but I can't remember, but that aside, that's the only reason I could think of why he wouldn't have been competing last year.
My God, I
Because
almost
obviously
forgot about him.
Yeah, that was a good performance against it was Andre Feely.
Andre
He beat.
Feely.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and,
excellent performance.
it was,
Yeah.
it was a great performance, and that put him into the rankings. But now he just hasn't competed. So hopefully he gets a fight soon. I mean, I know isn't Arnold Allen crying out for an opponent? He hasn't had a fight for a while. Why not make
Yeah,
that fight?
that would be. It's like they ignore Arnold Allen. It's like they don't treat him as if he's like, a contender for the title. Like he's up there. It's weird how he just gets bypassed. Or that
He's
at least
like a
he's good
7
enough that we could be talking about him more, I think.
Yeah, but the thing is with Arnold, he's got time. He's only 26. So
Oh, he's a baby. Okay, cool.
he's a baby. So he's on a 7-fight win streak in the. What is it with Brits and long ass win streaks? You get disrespected.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Poor Leon.
But speaking about long ass win streaks, so I was doing research for obviously the fights that are coming up in this month. I was about to say next month, and I looked at Neil Magny's record in the UFC, and he went on like a 7 or 8 fight win streak, and then
Quiet as kept.
Yeah, quiet as a cat. So he went on a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, he went on a 7-fight win streak from February 2014 until he lost to Damian Maia in August 2015. Now I'm trying to remember where Damian Maia was in the welterweight division at that moment in time. Was he was that time? Was that during his resurgence when he was high up in the rankings? Because if not, that's just another person who just got completely disrespected. I mean, Magny isn't giving him Damian Maia, like an aging Damian Maia.
Yeah.
I think because I'm pretty sure he fought Woodley around that time too.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Oh, yeah, right. Okay. But even still, I mean, 7-fight win streak. I mean, you know me, I'm Mr. Old School meritocracy. If you win 5 fights in a row, you should be in contention for a title shot. Obviously,
Me too.
Obviously I know you have to move the needle somewhat and what have you, but
look at Tony Ferguson. How many was he on? It's I'm old school like Chisanga. I think you start to get in the 6, 7, it's time, but that's not for everybody. I mean, we could talk to Leon about that, And I think it's also interesting and worth a mention that Dana is not allowing Leon to fight anybody else. Like he's over COVID, Chimaev is not, and Leon's available, and Dana said no.
And Leon even came out and he commented on, did you see on Ariel Helwani's Instagram post? And he said, I said I'd fight Magny or Chiesa. Literally, as we've said this before, and we even theorized this before the fight even came to fruition, the Chimaev fight. They're just trying to feed him to a wolf and then get him out of there, like get him out of the top 5. That's what I think they're really trying to do, and they're trying to. I think
everyone says that Dana wants Chimaev to get rid of Leon, and I'm like, that's true. He probably does want to knock him off, but I also think he wants Chimaev to beat Usman. I don't.
That's true.
I think that's what that's the agenda behind this. I think it's for Chimaev to be the champion because he is way more marketable. The fans are behind him. All that smash shit. They like that. You know what I mean? So
hold on. How come when you say that, you don't get the riot act, but when I say it, it's like heresy? Look at Kairos. Kairos ain't even responding to you.
I think I remember. I don't think I was on that episode, but I remember hearing that argument. And Kairos, I can handle it. I mean, you don't believe that, or I don't want to beef with me?
It's not nothing to do with beef. It's just at a certain point, it's like I'm sick and tired of hearing this motherfucker's name, man. Oh my god.
Me too. Me too.
Fuck out of here.
I think I'm one of those fans too. Like I'm over the Chimaev celebrity, whatever. I just want to see him fight somebody in the top 5. And I didn't even want to see him fight anyone in the top 5, but now that they're forcing me on it, I'm like, good, give him Leon, and hopefully Leon shuts him up. Because I'm done. Yeah. So Kairos can just start.
Kairos, is he frozen?
Mm-hmm.
No, he's pretending to be frozen.
Nah, he's froze.
Look, I'm like, Kairos.
He's dead.
He's frozen.
He did.
What a way to get frozen. I'm screenshotting this, yo. Where is he? Did it disappear already? Oh, damn. I was about to screenshot.
It's okay. I was recording.
Oh, my bad.
Here you go.
Mr. Bodley.
That has to go in.
That shit just, my man was.
What
Back from the
happened?
dead. Lazarus has risen.
Yeah.
You're up, Lazarus.
Okay. My two topics, I couldn't think of cool fancy names, but the criteria is pretty cool. First one up is the Catapult Award. This is a person who is poised to do great things this upcoming year based off of where they are currently and who they might be matched up with in the future. So I'm predicting that they're going to dominate their next opponent and then dominate the next few ones. First up, we got Amanda Hibash. She's got a tough fight ahead of her, though. She's fighting, what's her name? I'm drawing a blank on it. Melissa something or
Rodriguez, is it?
Mariana Rodriguez.
Marina
Yes.
Rodriguez. Yeah,
Marina
Marina.
Rodriguez.
That's
Yes.
it.
yes. And she might be able to out grapple her though. I see a quick route to victory. She just grapples her and
think
doesn't
so,
call her
too.
as far as it did. And Tyler Santos, of course, y'all know I'm big on her. I'm a huge Tyler Santos fan. Macy Shat. So y'all know I was gonna put her on this list. Y'all thought that I was not gonna put her on any list. No, I had to put her on it. There ain't no way I'm not gonna put her on it. Because you know what's gonna happen? She's gonna prove once again that America hates their teachers. She's gonna destroy Marion Renault in the first round, probably the second round. They continue skating off on people until she makes it to the top 5. And last but not least, we got Alicia Zapatella. Zapatella, yeah, I said it correctly. She's an Invicta. She's an atomweight. She's won 3 straight in a row. She has the title. She's pretty. I think she's poised to get a knock for the UFC and fighting in the strawweight division sometime soon. But it's going to be tough because it's a large division. People are a lot larger. All that other jazz. But I think she's.
I was
still
just going to say that.
It's going to be a tough jump, but I'm pretty sure she can handle it. I really was gonna pick Alicia, but ain't no way I'm gonna let anybody win over Macy. I'm sorry. If you want to act like anybody's position better than she is right now, y'all are crazy. She's gonna fight a person who's only ranked 1 ahead of her. She's gonna dominate them, jump that person, and then everybody in front of her outside the top 5, I think she handily can beat. I think she handily beats. But you know, you can argue, but you'd lose.
I agree with you on Macy. Yeah.
Who am I missing? Who am I missing from mine?
Oh my
Honestly,
God.
You got the
Could
important
you-
ones in there. Macy,
could you-
definitely.
Macy definitely, but
Mm.
this is like a I don't know. What about Glover Teixeira? Don't you think he's going to be winning most of his fights except for maybe the champion of whether it's Izzy or Jean? I feel like we need to throw him in somewhere. If he's
Glover Teixeira ain't. You know, if I'm Glover Teixeira, right? Obviously, he's in a good groove right now. But if I'm him, he's not going to be fighting for another 9 months. Glover Teixeira, if you think of it, because Adesanya versus Blachowicz is
it
when?
holds up the
March.
division.
In March, and then we don't even know what's going to happen. Is he going to move up to heavyweight or what have you? But if he decides to stay a light heavyweight, he's probably going to want to take another 3-4 months off to then prepare himself for the fight again. So Teixeira's not fighting for a long time. And to be honest, I'm pretty sure, didn't Dana White say that Teixeira deserves the next title shot? And after he beat, who did he beat last? Glover.
Thiago Santos, correct?
Yeah, after he beat Thiago Santos, I'm sure he said that. I'm sure he said, yeah.
He lied because Izzy about to get that spot, but he lied. I just feel like this year, his career has been catapulted. Maybe I'm just confusing the word catapult with Glover, because I do feel like he has catapulted into title contention. So maybe that's why
I agree with that.
Maybe that's why he's on my brain with this category, the word catapult.
Yeah, using that, I can agree. But using my definition, he's in a fucked up position because his next fight, he's losing. He's losing. No matter who wins that fight, he's lost. So that's why I'm like, he ain't got nowhere to go. Similar to how even if Khamzat beats Leon, he still loses in the end because now you're in the top 5 against people that you shouldn't be fighting right now. So that's why, guys like that, I just didn't put them on here because it's like, you win one fight and you're going to lose the next 2 or 3.
Correct.
No, yeah, I agree. And we don't know enough about Khamzat to say that he's going to catapult 2021. He could very well lose to Leon. This award is about people that are catapulting, correct? So
yes,
we haven't seen the best of him yet. No, I wouldn't put him up there, but I do love the Macy mention. I 100% I agree with you. I think she beats up a lot of girls in her division until she hits the cusp of the top of her division. There's something special about her, and Amanda as well. I like the Alicia, mention from Invicta, but I always worry when Adam Wade has to fight in a division that's not there. Look at Michelle Waterson. They struggle, man. So who knows if her career is going to catapult when she comes over to the UFC, but honorable mention is 100% correct.
So who's Macy fighting next?
Marion Renault.
Marion Renault. Okay. All right.
The gym teacher from Belize. Yeah.
All right, all right. That's a good fight. And then that propel her to like the Sarah McMahons and like the Yana Kunitskayas afterwards. All right. Yeah.
You see what I see?
I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. Okay. Fair enough. I wouldn't be surprised if she's definitely ranked in the top 5 or maybe even top 4 or 3 by the end of the year. Like given that potential trajectory, and like some of the matchups.
Catapult is correct.
Mr. Morgan, you're quite quiet. We're waiting.
No, who wants to say Conor?
I totally agreed with you. I haven't got any to actually add, and I'm just glad that the only one I would have added, which I'm sure would have been in there anyway, which why I wasn't surprised that it was, and that is Macy. No, your list is immaculate.
I thought you were going to say Conor. I was like, that's it. I was about to hit the little leave button.
I was about to say, are you trying to get an interview with him or something? Why are you inserting this cat into the conversation all the time?
He loves Conor.
Next topic, we're going with Remember Me Award. Now, I told you guys one person was going to be on this list, but I got to get his ass off this list because it just doesn't make sense for me to put him on a Remember Me list when he's just going to fight one more time and take another 3-year hiatus off. So this is an award of people who never fight. They never fight, whether it's because of injury, whether it's because they're taking breaks, whether it's because they're lazy, whatever the reason is, they just don't fight. But they have a fight lined up and they have a position of strength to remind the fans who they are. First off is TJ Dillashaw. The guy got suspended for 2 years for cheating, but he still has the ability and the skill set. So take the title and defend the title repeatedly. I don't think there's any problems with him besides his age. If his age comes back to haunt him, that's the only thing I see because he's had years to rehabilitate both shoulders. He fixed his arms. His body's back to homeostasis. He was destroying his body just to get down to 125 as well as not eating accordingly and was like hurting himself to even make 135. He's got all that back on track. Every single problem that you could possibly have for him is basically gone. And he's had 2 years to redefine his entire offense and defense. No one knows what he's coming back with. That's what's so funny about it. Every single person who's watched film on TJ Dillashaw for the past 3 to 5 years, it's all irrelevant now because he's not coming back with that same stuff. And he has one of the best coaches in the game. People oftentimes forget about Dwayne Ludwig. Dwayne Ludwig is one of the best striking coaches in MMA. He just never gets the shout because he doesn't have athletes just out the wazoo coming in to bang. He has like sometimes Rose coming in. He has TJ coming in. All right, we don't have to keep doing this. Next person. I took out Dominic Cruz and I put in Sadiq Youssef. Sadiq Youssef is a guy who we just said hasn't fought in a year or so, but I think his position at 145 pounds is at 15. So he's going to be given a few more layups in the upcoming fights to where he can continue to gain momentum and traction. I think they might try and give him, Bryce Mitchell. I think they might try and give him maybe Hakeem Dawodu or the Shane Burgos winner after that fight. I see potential matches. Nice. I think they're going to try and run those type of matchups for him. And those are going to be hard, but I think he can still do it. Also, we got Santiago Ponzinibbio, the guy he hasn't fought in 8 years, not even. He hasn't fought in like 5 or 6 years. He looked fantastic against Neil Magny. He just embarrassed Mike Perry for 3 straight rounds. He's put it on people when he's had the opportunities to. I know people aren't happy with him and his out of octagon activities. I don't co-sign. I don't condone those either. But I think that he's going to dominate his next 2 to 3 fights. But I think it's going to get tough and dicey for him after that 3rd fight because I think they're going to hand him a guy like what's his name? Lazis, who fought. I think they're going to hand him in the future, and that might derail one of them. One of them's going down in that fight. It's going to be crazy though. So he's up there as well. And then last but not least, we got Leon Edwards. The guy hasn't fought in 2 years. The UFC's blacklisted him. They're trying to hold him in a cage and force him to fight this death fight. And if he loses, I think it might be sayonara for him. I'm dead serious. I think they are trying so hard to get him out of the UFC. And what's so messed up about this position is this. Even if he beats Hamzat, it's like, well, Hamzat didn't deserve to fight him. But if Hamzat beats him, he beat Leon Edwards. That winning streak is crazy. He deserves it. It's like, oh my God, why can't this man win? That's why I'm nervous on this. My mind is telling me Leon can win this fight. Leon can win this fight 9 times out of 10. But my inner soul is thinking
That fear, yeah.
that fear is like, this is mixed martial arts. What happens if Hamzat
Anything can
takes him
happen.
down and
Yeah.
Leon can't get up?
And supposedly he's really good at it. Even though Leon has a good ground game, I'm hearing that Chimaev is next level. So who knows? And anything can happen. I'm also equally as nervous, Kairos. I share the anxiety.
I blame us.
Leon has to win.
I blame us for even speaking this into existence, because we talked about this well before this was even a thing. We talked about this possibility, and lo and behold, it's come to fruition. Leon, do not blame us. Well, we are to blame partially, but don't hold it against us, please. That's why we're probably getting ghosted on blue ticked, Mike.
Nah, he gets what he deserves. He stole my video and didn't give me credit for it 2 years ago. Guess what, Leon? Whatever happens to you is your fault. You did this to yourself.
Just something that you said there, Kairos. I mean, if you didn't bring up Leon, I would have brought him up. That would have been somebody definitely worthy of note.
Me too.
When you think about it, he recently re-upped with the UFC.
Yep, in March.
He is basically at the start of his new contract. Now, something tells me that this whole emphasis on fighting Khamzat Chimaev is about exalting Leon's status, because he has none. I love you, Leon, but facts are facts. He has none in terms of fan interaction, in terms of fan traction. He has none. So that will exalt his status. And it has to be Khamzat, because Khamzat is this wolf, excuse the pun, who has come in, this lone wolf, and has laid waste to, what seems to be people from our shores. But that by the side, I just think his buzz, his flashy appeal, the fact that he is Dana's boy, if he can get through him, that raises his stock. That's why that fight has to take place in Dana's eyes. That's why that fight has to be kept intact. That's why he was denied the fights which he said that he would gladly take next week or this forthcoming week. The thing is this, I do see Leon being beaten by Chimaev, and it's for 2 reasons. Well, look at G's face.
Just the thought of it.
Two reasons. People have not seen the entire devastating array of what Khamzat Chimaev is capable of, apart from those who train with him. I listen to those people. I listen to those people like the Jimmy Manuas of this world. I listen to those people like the Darren Stewarts of this world. People who have had hands-on experience of this man. He made the dentist go to the dentist. Anyway, let me just park that right there, because I think the cumulative effect of this will be that Leon will leave the UFC in 2021 and will be fighting for Bellator by the end of the year. Trust me on this.
Yeah, I agree. Mike, we talked about this in the DMs or in the wild of MMA Twitter. I totally agree with Mike on this. It sounds outlandish, but I think Leon is going to get frustrated at some point, and it could even be with one loss, because if Leon gets a loss, it's not like anybody else who gets a loss. Like, he could be cut. He's just not liked. So as soon as he hits like a wall that he can't do anything about, I could see him going to another organization. And to be honest with you, I think he should. I think he's being treated poorly in this organization, and it shows. And sometimes you have to take a stand against that by being like, I'm better than this. You guys might be the best organization in the world, but I'm gonna go be champ in Bellator or somebody else. And if he chooses to do that, I fucking support him. I'm all for people being happy. You know what I'm saying? And he need to be happy.
Go on, Chizanga.
No, I was just saying that's church. I agree with the sentiment what you were saying. Like, yeah, I'm not contesting or being.
Your face looked different.
Yeah,
when I was looking at you. You looked like I was fucking crazy, right?
Nah. I agree with you, but I'm just interested to see who wins Kyros's award. Who's
Oh yeah.
Here we go.
Who won Kairos?
I even forgot. I got so frustrated talking about this.
Was it Ponzinibbio, Dillashaw?
It's gonna be hard for me because I'm weighing, are they gonna win this next fight? That's the thing that's making me like, because I know Dominic Cruz, if he was still on there, he's gonna win his next fight. But is Sadiq Yusuf gonna win his next fight? I don't know. Is TJ Dillashaw gonna win his next fight? I don't know. Ponzinibbio is definitely gonna win his next fight. Leon
will poke his way to a win.
Yeah, he's gonna poke some eyes, but
let's not forget what he did to poor Gunnar Nelson.
Everybody pokes eyes though. It's a veteran move. We got to just let it happen. I'm gonna go.
Y'all
with
really think they do it on purpose?
Yes. Yes.
No, I'm serious.
Yeah.
I've ignored that debate for years. Every time I see it on Twitter or something, I'd be like, I'm not getting into this. Like, y'all, Mike, you're looking at me crazy now. You think you think they do it on purpose?
No, definitely not. But I'm interested and intrigued in your rationale here. That's why I was looking. That was my perplexed face.
But hold up. Kairos, tell us your winner, and then after the winner, tell me why you think eye poking is on purpose. We got to get organized here. We all over,
All right. Santiago Ponzinibbio is the winner. He is going to have an impressive return. He's going to get a TKO finish probably in the second round, maybe the third round. That's my winner. And then we're going to realize, dang, he really is that dude, and he's coming back in the welterweight division. My reasoning for why people are eye poking on purpose is because you're going to get 2 to 3 warnings. You are going to get 2 to 3 warnings with it. And there's a really funny thing about fighters, no matter what like height or reach you have, the people who eye poke continue to eye poke. And there are certain people who have never gotten eye pokes in their entire career. How is it that you have people who have had just as long of a career in you and your weight class or in other weight classes not poking eyes, which you are consistently poking eyes, especially when you aren't being poked in the eye? If I stick my finger out like this and you walk into it, you did that deliberately. When I do this and you walk into it, I can't poke you in the eye. It's a simple difference between a flick of the wrist and this. And there are certain people who have consistently poked eyes. People always want to talk about John Jones, but John Jones hasn't poked eyes in a while. It has been a while since John Jones poked eyes. But people never want to talk about Stipe poking DC's eyes. It's always like, oh, DC was clawing out his eyes. They were poking each other's eyes out for both fights. For all 3 fights, they were poking eyes out the entire time. These people are trying to poke eyes. They are trying because they can get away with it.
Name a fight or somebody besides Stipe and DC who this is like breaking news to me. I'm sorry. Like, who else? Stipe and DC, you think?
Who?
Jasonka, Mike, you know anybody that's a horrible eye poker? I'm trying to think.
Apart from those who he's mentioned, and I always thought in my mind, my romanticized mind, that the eye poke, from where I'm seeing it, is a measurement. It's the act of putting your
gauging
out is to gauge distance. It wasn't a purposeful act to actually get your fingers in someone's eyes. That's why I was really interested in where this notion that it's on purpose comes from, because you're not gaining anything.
I feel like the DC Stipe, maybe we could have a conversation about it being on purpose. I did think their little war, their finger war is a little outlet, like it's a little much.
I think Stipe in the last fight, he wanted to get him back.
Me too.
Yeah, I think he wanted to get him back.
I got 2 off the top of my head right now.
Ooh.
Tony Ferguson. No one ever talks about how he clawed out RDA's eyes in that 5 round. He clawed his eyes out multiple times in that fight. He clawed Cowboy's eyes out. He tried to claw out Charles, but he just couldn't get in a rhythm to get that eye poke. The other one is Li Jingliang. This man was on top of Gunnar Nelson's face with claws like this, ripping his eyes open. Like, you guys, I can't make this up. Go look at the fight. I think there's a picture. He has his hands like this in his eyes.
Man was
some of those eyes. I'm not saying everyone's intending to poke eyes, but I will say this: not every eye poke is an accident. That's what I'm saying. Not every eye poke is an accident. That's all I'll say.
Okay.
That's
and there's another one. Yeah, he did that against Australian guy who barely fights. What's his name? Jake Matthews.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he did that as well. Yeah. Oh God.
Joanna used to do it sometimes too, though. And
Yeah.
Faber,
Don't talking bad about my boo.
Faber did it. Faber even got a finish using an eye poke. He poked I forget the guy's name in the
Ooh.
eye, then didn't stop because he was trying to run away. Got
Oh
him in a
yeah,
really-
was that in the WEC?
No,
Was it-
this was in the UFC. This was like
Was it?
5 or so years ago when he went on the winning streak to go and fight Barao. Uriah has gotten a few eye pokes in his career. Like it's more common than people think.
Mm.
Who was that again?
Thank you, Kairos. I didn't know it was this
Francisco, not what is his last name?
Trinaldo?
No,
Trinaldo?
Trinaldo's at 155. No. This is a different Francisco. Forget it. Just
Uh,
favor be eye poker. Just know that.
Faber PI poking, just no. I know. I
Yeah.
got to figure who was it. I remember, yeah, because he did, and then did he submit him afterwards? I think,
Yes.
yeah. It was. Who was this cat? Who was it?
I'm
Who
about
was
to
it?
pull it up right now.
Y'all ever trip about how much MMA we know, so much so we can't remember shit? Isn't that crazy? Like,
Yeah.
So much of it.
yeah, like
Yeah,
I
this
hate when we record and I'd be like, what's his name? What's his name? And I'd be like, I thought I
Francisco
knew my
Rivera.
shit.
Francisco Rivera. Okay, all right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, if this was 10 years ago when there weren't 42 cards a year or what have you, and it was like to say
True.
21 or whatever, we'd be able just to rattle off things like that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I remember things that happened like 4 months ago, unless it's a pay-per-view event. Like
Yeah, that's
there's
true.
so much, and there's not enough time, I think, to digest what's actually happened. Like,
That's
I mean,
true.
if they'd done a pay-per-view card at the on December 19th, we'd still be talking about everything that's gone on from them. But I mean, because it was a fight night, don't get me wrong, it was a great fight night card with Wonder Boy and Jeff Neal, who I told you was going to leave to Wonder Boy and get schooled.
I said it too. I said
Dang,
it
y'all
too.
right.
Yeah, I said it too, y'all. I was like, I have a feeling he hits the wall with Wonder Boy. I just have a feeling we were going to see a Vincent Luque performance again. Somebody that's on fire, but Wonder Boy, like, you're not that good. Sit down. And
Yeah,
that's what we saw. I hated it though. I wanted Neil to win. We need new blood in that, you know?
We do.
we do. But I think it's just a testament just to how good Wonder Boy is, and I think he's
How
well
tricky
above the
he
status.
is.
Yeah, he's well above the status of Gatekeeper, because Gatekeeper would, if somebody gives you that title, you automatically assume that they've racked up numerous losses and that they've been found out on multiple occasions. That's not been the case for Wonder Boy.
I don't see him as a gatekeeper. When people started throwing that around, I was like, I think more Anthony Smith. You know, I don't think Wonder Boy. I think Wonder Boy, you can give him one more title shot if he keeps it up. If he gets a couple of more wins, I think he's good enough. But Anthony Smith is not fighting for a title anytime soon. But at the same time, he can send some pups back down. You know, like, to me, he's the gatekeeper. Hate to say it though.
Also, actually, I left Anthony Smith out of my list, and maybe that's because of Michael's relationship with Mr. Jimmy Manuel, because the shots that he fired towards Jimmy towards the end of the year.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they were.
Oh, he asked him if he was still sleeping.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that pump action shotgun to the chest, basically.
Yeah. And next year, y'all, we need to do Gatekeeper of the Year. We need to start showing respect to these people. You know what I'm saying? Like, for real. There's quite a few that emerged this year, and as we're speaking, I'm like, oh, one of us should have did, like, who was the gatekeeper that was like, get your ass back down here? You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe next year we'll do that. And I haven't heard that too much on too many shows.
I think they tried that with Aldo and Chito Vera. I think that they thought, okay, Chito might be able to get the jump on Jose Aldo, but people forget Jose Aldo. He's not top of the food chain.
He's not washed.
He's an elite fighter. He's still like, I don't get it. And people
He's
forget,
only 34 or 36.
Oh yeah, the Peter, obviously, yeah. Was it the fifth round the Peter fight got stopped in? I think it was the fifth. But obviously that was a beatdown. But for the previous 2.5 rounds beforehand, it was a back and forth affair. Like, Jose was having his moments. Like, so. But,
and then he showed his expert, veteran experience when he was like, I'm not even like known for a grappler, but I know enough to keep this guy on the ground and win the fight. So.
Yeah, like a facet of his game we haven't seen. So. But,
facts. Yeah.
Oh hell, people.
It was a great year, y'all, for 2020. For MMA. If so I think it was dope. I had a great time. I don't know about y'all, but I'm going into 2021 because I need Chimaev. I need that train derailed, y'all.
And just on 2021, just before we kind of like draw close to our wonderful award ceremony, I just wanted just a quick fire round. I know this isn't a category. I know it's nothing to do with the awards. It's more our personal aspirations for 2021. What's the one thing that you want to see in 2021 more of, or one thing that you want to see introduced? Just an aspiration for 2021. I'm going to go with ladies first.
Yay.
Take it away, G.
I think we did an episode on weight classes once, and you guys sold me on the 165 division, although I think it might thin out the other divisions that are between it. That is like something we needed to discuss more, because that is a possible issue. But I think adding either atom weight for the ladies or 165 division, I wouldn't mind a new weight class to just lose my mind on and discuss on the pod, and just have new content with a whole new weight class. That would be for me. I would like that.
I mean, it's not going to happen, but I'd love. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about what I'm going to say. Sorry, I should have prefaced that. I
was like, good to know.
If I was like, gee, that shit ain't gonna happen. Sorry.
No, I'm like, good to know. I won't get excited. I was like, okay, just tell me the truth.
Sorry, I should have thought of how I was.
No, it's okay. Go on.
Basically, a revision to the scoring in MMA, whether it be. Well, I don't necessarily know if open scoring is the idea, but we need a change to the judging criteria, because there was, I can't remember which fight it was. I was rewatching. God, it was a huge robbery. What's his name? Andre Ewell. Who did he beat? Was it Mike Rodriguez?
I cannot remember off the top of my head.
Yeah, that for me is. Like, people talk about Volkanovski and Holloway being a robbery or whatever. That Andre Ewell fight, I can't remember who it was he fought, but that was the biggest robbery of the year. Like, Andre Ewell did not win that fight. So a revision to scoring this and the scoring criteria would be.
You're talking about Erwin Rivera?
It must be, yes.
Yeah. Covington versus Woodley fight card. Yeah, he won that, and it was decision split. Yeah.
No. This one was what you call it? Was
Jonathan Martinez?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I was about to say, because I remember there was a crowd there at the time. Yeah.
Then that would be Jonathan Martinez. And just to throw in a tidbit, you know what I want to see with judges? I don't want to see boxing judges mixed in with MMA judges anymore. I think the part of the reason why you have your complaints is because a lot of the boxing judges don't understand what they're seeing. And that is usually the one judge that's like, who won? What round did you give him to? It's usually a boxing judge.
Just a permutation, or just a kind of like riff on what you both have come up with there. One of the things I want to see is in round scoring, accountability for those judges who are actually making those scores. I think the dumb scoring that we've seen, because of the transparency in round, I think that would do away with that. I think people would be a lot less keen to have dumb scores at the end if they were actually being questioned as the round was actually progressing. So in-round scoring for me. How about you, Kairos?
You guys have done scoring to death, so I won't even tackle on. I have my own archaic, barbaric ideas about what we could do to these punk-ass judges, but for me, I need to see more punishment to people who are not making the weight. There are people who have 30 pounds to cut, and they consistently do it every single time. There are people who cut 30, 40 pounds and never miss weight, ever. And they are rewarded for that. But you have people who consistently will miss weight, and it's just like, oh, it's 30%, whatever. Maybe I'll win a bonus. Maybe I'll go out there and put on a show, and then it compensates for that 30% loss. Or maybe not. Maybe they're just like, you know what, I'm going to keep missing. There's a time period where there were people who were missing weight. I think it was in 2019 or 2018, whereby 70% or something outrageous of fighters who missed weight would win the fight that they missed weight for. It was something crazy like that. I don't know the percentage now, but I remember that being just like astronomical and them not being punished for it. We need to have it so that if you miss weight, you don't get a win bonus. You're showing up, but you don't get a win bonus. Or it needs to be you get a point deducted, or you start in a less dominant position in a round of the fighter's choosing. it's got to be something that's just like, I am not giving up that type of advantage. Like, I got to make this weight. Like, okay, if I'm a fighter, I'll be like, all right, great. I'm guessing, let's start the third round. You're on your back and I'm on top. Like something like that, where it's just like, you better not miss this fucking weight or it's wraps for you. Like, it's got to be something.
You want a serious consequence that prevents, people purposely missing weight. And I agree with you on that. I don't see nothing wrong with that. I wouldn't know what that would be, but yeah, it seems like people are cheating.
How about 50% of their purse?
Oof.
I'm with it.
That means nothing though. If you're a person who makes 150 and 100, as soon as you reach a certain tier of fighter, that rule is no longer relevant to you. It's just not relevant to you.
Your tax system over there is horrific.
You were just like, I mean, if I go from being a 50 and 50 fighter and I'm making 150, 150, I'm bulling out like 150. My lifestyle goes up. My expenses go up. So if you were to then, if I was to egregiously miss weight, let's say, would we say like what, 4 or 5 pounds maybe? Would that be the criteria to?
Let's go with that. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So if I was to miss 50% of my weight, then some of my bills aren't getting paid. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. Because you still have to pay taxes. Like I keep saying, your tax system over there is horrific, man. I would not want to have 50% of my purse deducted. No way.
But
That's too much.
We're counting on people who aren't taking care of their money or whose living expenses have gone up. What if you're just that type of smart person who's just like, hey, listen, I'm not going to split. Let's say you got a person who's like the caliber of who's making a lot and who is also, let's say you are Tony Ferguson and you cut 50 pounds and you know he's making hundreds of thousands a fight. And you know he lives out in the bare bones of nowhere, isn't buying a mansion, isn't buying a Maserati. And he says, you know what? I'm not cutting weight this time.
Yeah.
I'm gonna show up 5 pounds over or whatever the maximum limit is. And no matter what percentage of my purse that you deduct, it's gonna be okay because I have my sponsorship cash, I have cash saved over, I have other enterprises outside of fighting that support me. What are you gonna do then?
That's a good question. That's a good point.
Shit. Right.
But anyway, speaking about 50%, the man in your t-shirt, Kairos, is going to be given 50% of what he's earned. This is 50% of what he's earned over the last few years.
No, she's gonna be giving 50 cents to him. She's richer than he is.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah,
she's a billionaire.
So, closing out this award ceremony, I wanted to thank you for an incredible Shots Fired. Thank you for doling out your awards. And this, I guess, is going in the post to all the recipients. And, well, no, I'm just going to drink it myself, actually.
Enjoy, Mike.
You may not see me on the next episode. I might be dead.
No.
Okay, guys, have a good one.
Take it easy.
Bye, guys.
Yo. Shots fired for fuck's sake. Shots fired for fuck's sake. You know that shots fired. Shots fired, yeah. You know that shots fired. Shots fired, yeah. Shots fired for fuck's sake.